thank you once again for having me this evening. Um, it's a privilege. We're only here by privilege, right? And yeah, like you said, years of putting in the work. So, well, the first thing basically I'm talking about is brand and brand identity according to the tag for today's session. And how to be like me? Simple answer: practice, right? If you're already a brand designer, practice. But how to say if you want to start, if you want to get into this field, well, first thing you have to realize is you don't have the privilege that we had. What do I mean? We were figuring it out as we went along. Now, the privilege you have is you have this session now to kind of put things in perspective, right? Because when I started, I basically was trying everything and anything, which is something I will encourage you to do, right? Try everything, try anything, right? And it's built together to form to make you into an all-round better designer. Because one thing about brand identity is that it incorporates basically every part of design, anything you want to call it, right? Brand identity encompasses it. Brand identity encompasses art, encompasses movies, encompasses a lot of things, right? But this is a so you that you are here, right? This is something that you should need to realize is you hold great power. Is that simple, right? And like a saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility, and you need to understand that that's a responsibility, that power you hold. And what's this power that you hold, right? This is the basic thought flow behind it, right? In case you are not familiar with what brand identity is. So say, take for example, you're walking through a store or a mall, right? And or maybe you're scrolling online and you something catches your eye, right? Maybe it could be the logo, it could be the packaging, maybe the colors, right? Especially for children, if children see bright colors, they are automatically drawn towards it, right? Yeah. Or you see a design that just feels like it appeals to you. Say you are a Samsung or Apple user, right? You see Apple design, you are feeling it already. It's calling your name, it's calling your bank account, right? And that's all part of a what we call branding, right? And brand identity. So they are not one and the same, but they are intertwined. I don't know if that makes sense, right? Okay. But what really draws you is not just the packaging or the way it looks. There is a thought process that has gone into that thing you are seeing, that image that they put out there into the public, and then that image is to connect with a particular set of audience on not just a mental level but also an emotional level, right? So that's the basic psychology behind brand and brand identity. So as a designer, like I said, you hold great power, right? Even if you're not just a brand identity designer, because everything needs an identity. If you're a flyer designer, there is an identity that flyer exudes, right? And once that flyer is presented to the public, there is a message gotten. So in putting the logo or the top left or top right alignment and all those things, it's a form of identity. But brand identity is you are branding a business, a company, a personality, right? You are giving them a brand. So the identity helps shape their brand. However, the identity is like the final step in presenting that brand, right? So today, basically, what you'll be understanding is how the brands are formed, or rather what a brand is, and how you as a designer can use the tool of brand identity to create captivating images in order for you to communicate business mission, vision, and statements. Basically what the brand is all about to its target audience in order to help them make sales or just help them appeal more to their target audience. So thank you, right? Yeah. So the first thing you want to understand is what a brand is, right? Because in order to stand out as a brand identity designer, you have to actually create elements, right? Visual representation to help you stand out. You don't just stand out. You don't just stand out by virtue of, say, I want to be a brand identity designer, so let me design, right? You stand out by actually understanding what a brand is first, right? And this is something you need to realize. What is a brand, right? A brand is by definition different from brand identity.
Okay.
Successful companies don't sell products, they sell a feeling or an emotion,
Okay.
right? So your goal is to actually communicate that emotion or feeling through a visual process, right? So
Okay.
this is it. Right? Apple sells a feeling of innovation, sophistication, belonging to an exclusive community, and they do it in a simplified format. I don't know if that makes any sense, right? So
Yeah, sure.
if people that, I don't know how many of us here are Apple users, right? We can, like, personally, right? I use PC, but say if I have the opportunity to get gadgets, right, I'll go for Apple. Why? Because it just appeals to what I value, right? And yeah, and other people too can value that belonging to. In fact, for a while, people were like, just by holding an Apple phone, you have class, right? That is what Apple has successfully communicated. So understanding that is crucial. Coca-Cola sells a feeling of excitement, happiness, nostalgia, togetherness, right? Their communication always reiterates that. It's two people sharing a Coke, two people sharing a Coke during a party, two people sharing, or people, couple group of friends sharing a Coke on the beach. They do all that by communicating it visually, and it's in that visual communication that is where your power lies. So you have the power to shape people's perspective on a particular product. You have the power to help a brand either stumble on the way or make sales. You have the power to help a brand stick to the minds of their target audience or whoever comes in contact with that brand. Do you understand? So as a designer, you're not just creating visuals, you are crafting the experience the customers have with a brand. So understanding this is crucial, because it is then you will not just slap two colors together, call it a visual representation, right? Or you will take your time to understand how two colors function together. Is then you take your time to understand what's feeling red emanates from a particular individual. Is there you take your time to understand how a particular typography, communicates a particular emotion, right? And then that is where you take your time to actually do some groundwork. So if you don't understand that, then you just begin to put things together and just, you put logo here, you say I've designed a logo without understanding the power that you hold, right? So that is one thing you need to realize. That is one thing you need to get at the back of your mind, right? So in order to craft that actual brand, right, visually, like Coca-Cola and the rest, you need to understand what the brand mission is, what the brand values are, and then what the brand personality is. So I'm sure we can all understand what mission is, what values are, right? For example, Apple value simplicity, sophistication, innovation, right? Their mission is to constantly change the landscape of technology, right? If you remember what Steve Jobs did, he wanted to make the iPhone as flat as possible, right? That's what their mission is all about, right? So if you can understand a company's brand mission and values, then their personality, just like a human being, right? A human being has multiple personalities, right? You can find people that are introverted, people that are outgoing, loud, really, really fun, like our anchor here now, Super Slim Bobo, now outgoing guy, they understand. So that is a personality, and if you want to represent that personality, there are ways to do it, right? So you have to be responsible for the mood or the tone that the brand wants to convey through visuals. So it's either you're playful, professional, or edgy, right? So understanding that will even help you create what they call it, right? You help you create functional brand identities. And even if you want to create personal projects for fun, understanding that will help you greatly, because then you can begin to take concepts from your mind, names from anywhere, and attach meaning to it, right? Like I do most of the time. So that's one way to be a successful brand identity designer.